calf off young, and we start with halter breaking the calf and getting the calf to get used to us showing and being on the halter. Then we go in from that to daily care, which is washing, rinsing, feeding the animal, taking care of it, and clipping. And then to get the calf, generally like to make sure we have the calf clipped and ready for the show prior to the show, usually a week before we go. And then when we go to the show, the judges look at how well you can handle your animal, how calm you are working around the animal, how much work you've done. So like I say, all that work you've done at home, the judge looks for that.
So basically, when we're doing our legs or when we're clipping our animals and stuff, we have, I just grabbed Carson's cordless clippers here. A couple of multi-blades that are very useful for all animals. I use a medium blender. Basically, that's how you do your head. Once you get all that big clumpy hair out of there and all the dirt out of their head, I'll use a medium blender. And what it does is it blends the shoulder and the head and the neck into the shoulders and into that belly and body is what it kind of does. And then we use a blue ribbon, Andes. It's a you got to be pretty good at clippers because there's no forgiveness with these ones. You're going to get a champion hack pretty quick with these ones if you're not careful. So we'll use these ones here. That's kind of our two main blades that we use through when we're fitting. Our combs, different style combs we use. We have a plastic comb. Our rule of thumb is when you go in the ring, we always put a plastic comb in our pocket. One thing is if that comb ever falls out and you have a steel comb and it sits in the ring like this and the next animal behind you comes and steps on it, it's going to go right into their hoof and cause some issues with the animal behind you. Whereas a plastic comb, they're just going to bend over and break the comb probably. So our plastic combs are mainly used in the show ring as part of that. For different combs when we're fitting, I like using the double-sided comb here. I have a skip tooth comb on the one side. As you can see, we haven't cleaned this one up yet. And then we have our straight tooth comb. Straight tooth comb, it works well to pull that hair straight up and get all that hair in there. The skip tooth comb acts like a pick and you can pull that hair out towards you to build that leg up, is basically what it is. There's different lengths of your skip tooth. We have a tiger skip tooth here, just a little longer for them animals that have a little more hair that you need to get into that hide to pull the hair out. Okay, on show day here, we've already done our prep in the barns, or prior to that, we've got our heifer all washed up and cleaned up, blown out. One of the biggest things is to get your heifer fed and watered and good and full for show day. That's kind of the first thing we do when we get to the fairgrounds, make sure that they're clean and we can get them settled in, and then we get some feed in front of them and get some hay in front of them and get them filled up so they're looking nice and full. About an hour and a half before prep time, that's when we'll kind of get things going and get organized on what we're going to do for the show, on what level of fitting that we're going to go at. Different shows is a different level of fitting for us at Glenview Farms. When we're at our local fair, we don't go crazy on our fitting, but it's also a good time for the kids to practice on their fitting skills and stuff for when they get into going to Toronto to the 4-H shows and those little higher competitive shows. So I got a bunch of different products that I use. We use Sullivan's and we use Weavers. Basically, we got to make sure our legs are clean before we start fitting, and we'll get our hair combed up and get the dust and stuff out of it. For kind of a beginner, I'll use a Sullivan Prime Time first, and I'll use that for the kids or myself on them. To kind of shape that leg on a total all the way around 360 and pull that hair up. And then basically to hold it in, I'll use a tail adhesive. I generally use this all the time. I don't use the Prime Time, but the Prime Time is really good for the kids. It's good starter glue with that. So going along, Weavers, they have a medium adhesive. It's a really good adhesive too for gluing the legs up and pulling the legs up with that as well. So basically what we want to do is when we're fitting a leg, when you fit an animal, you want to make your lines crisp, right? So from your tail head right up through your shoulder blades, you want a nice straight line through there is what we want. You want to go up in through the skull, down in through the brisket, nice clean shaven, down in through there, and then in through her belly and straight out through her udder, and then back up. You basically almost want kind of a box. You want to crisp them lines up, coming into their front legs, basically, we'll let Carson set her up here for a minute. The trick is you want to have a nice set in her legs. She's got really nice natural set in her legs on her hind wheels here right now. So when you build that legs and you pull that hair up and you clip them out, you're basically just straightening those lines, making their legs look a little bigger, a little fuller. Some people get a little aggressive and get into full-on building and stuff like that. We do that once in a while as well. So you want to make sure that they got good set in the legs. Don't build their legs out so it makes them look like they have a small hoof. You want to make sure that they got a good foot underneath them. When you get into their front legs, same sort of deal. You look off the front shoulder blade, you want to come down almost like a banana, right through to that front foot, right? Up through the back, the dew claws, you basically want to draw a straight line up through there. Just basically, fitting just makes an animal look really crisp. So when you get into building and stuff like that with the legs, we'll glue them all up first, then we'll get into white touch-up. And basically with the white touch-up, it's going to take that hair and it's going to pop it and build it out as much as you want almost. So then when we get doing that, I also use this powder flow. It's a little bit of a trick, this stuff. It's almost like baby powder in a can, and it basically just fills in where the white touch-up to make that leg look fuller. But you need to use the glue as well as the white touch-up for this stuff to stick. So then once you got that done, and if you got a multicolor animal, then you got to get into your paints and your different colors. This is where it gets fun for us and the kids to kind of match that color of that animal. Make them legs big, but then also have to use paint to cover up what you've built on that. So we got a couple of different colors. We'll go anywhere from Weavers to Sullivan's products. Their colors variate, which tries to match that animal on that deal too. If we're using a black animal, then you got the black finisher as well that does that too. So basically that's how we kind of go for fitting our animal on going to the show ring. Just before the show ring, they used to use a final bloom to go over them and put on their hair, make them look really shiny. We've done some kind of research and showing down in Louisville and Denver a couple of times down there. They come out with a flare, and basically this flare it's not as oily. It gives the animal lots of shine, but it doesn't have that oil in it where when you're in the barns or outside and all that dust and stuff sticks on that hair, and basically the oil is going to drop that hair on that animal. It's just not going to look so glamorous and poofy out in that ring and so showy. It's just going to basically drop that hair. Yes, it'll look shiny, but it just doesn't look as full. So that's where we've kind of gone to the flare, and the way ink gives us the shine, but not the oil on that end of things. So yeah, basically fitting, that's how it goes. There's multi-levels of fitting for different shows for us at Glenview. But we always like to have the kids fit somewhat at all shows. Just gives them kids practice for the big shows.